Hello and welcome back to the Coast to Coast, where I've just left the village of Glaisdale and arrived here at this beautiful bridge here. This is Beghaus Bridge. It was built in 1619 and it's possible that it actually incorporates some of a 14th century crossing that collapsed here in 1577, and it is a scheduled ancient monument and a grade 2 star listed building. And today's part of the Coast to Coast technically finishes at Robin Hood's Bay, but what we're going to do is we're going to break this 19-mile section down and we're going to stop at Hawsker, and that's actually what's recommended in the book, that you do about 15 miles or so to Hawsker, stop there, and then do the last 4 miles tomorrow morning, which is just a beautiful walk along the cliff tops down to Robin Hood's Bay. But today's going to be a very varied day. We've got valleys to walk through. We're going down to Egton Bridge and then over to Gromont, and just heading under this viaduct, it's very echoey. And then we're going up and over the moors down to Littlebeck, check out the waterfall there, and then up and over again, I think, towards Hawsker. So we have just left Gromont and starting our, I think, 250 metre ascent up the side of the valley. And as you saw by the sign, it's a 1 in 3, which is incredibly steep. We're probably about 120 metres up here above sea level, and the view is really starting to open out behind. Obviously, the higher we get, the better the view will get as well. And there's a really important landmark up ahead, and that is when we get up onto Flat Howe, we'll be able to see the North Sea for the first time. So we've made it up the steep road up onto Flat Howe, and just alongside the Coast to Coast in this field here, there are a couple of standing stones and fallen stones which date all the way back to the Bronze Age, so about 4,000 years ago. And this here is hybrid stones. And Mike, there is a little path that goes down. Have a little look and see what stones I can see before going over the other side of the hill. So if you can hear me, the wind is really howling up here, but we are heading over Flat Howe. The summit is just over there at 290 metres. There's a Bronze Age burial mound right on the top. And historically, that's where the route used to go, but it has actually been diverted just slightly further down the road and along this new path over towards the main road, which you follow briefly, and before turning off towards Littlebeck, which is 2 miles away. And that is where we're going to probably stop have some lunch by Falling Foss waterfall, and then leave the last third or quarter, whatever's left, for the rest of the day. But this is a milestone here, my first proper view looking east towards the North Sea. Now I could see it briefly from the road up from Gromont, but this is where the book mentions you can see the rest of the walk properly. Robin Hood's Bay, I believe, is over these cliffs over here somewhere, and I can just make out Whitby Abbey over there. God, that wind chill is freezing. So this is the village of Littlebeck, and it is absolutely gorgeous, tucked right down in the base of this little valley. And we've just joined Littlebeck itself. This is the stream alongside, and it's about 1¼ miles to Falling Foss, and that is where we are going to stop for some lunch. We are about 14, I think, almost 14 kilometres in, and probably 10 kilometres left to go until we get to Hawsker. So it's actually going to be a really nice place to have some lunch and rest up for a bit, and then the last quarter up to Hawsker. So we crossed what seemed like absolutely miles of this vast, open and quite featureless heather moorland to arrive at the road here on the edge of Hawsker. And according to the sign, it's only 1.25 miles to the village centre. And that is where we are going to stop for the night. And then I'm going to resume tomorrow morning to do the final 4.5 miles down into Robin Hood's Bay. And oh, I'm so excited just to do this last little bit. There is enough daylight to do it today, but both me and Alice want to feel quite fresh. We want to spend a bit of time down in the village just to celebrate crossing the entire country. So it's just gone 8:30 in the morning. Hawsker sits just 1/4 mile behind me, and we are about to head through the caravan park that literally leads us right up to the cliff tops by the North Sea. I can see it sprawling out in front of me. It's really exciting to be here. And this is the last 3¼ miles to Robin Hood's Bay. And here we are now at the coastal path where we've rejoined the Cleveland Way. And the view in front is absolutely breathtaking. We have officially walked right across northern England. But it's time to do our little lap of honour, which mirrors that at St Bees Head, where we're going to follow the cliff tops for a couple of miles down into Robin Hood's Bay. So we are just a few minutes away from Robin Hood's Bay now, and we've had our first view of this gorgeous little Yorkshire village. And it's time to head through the village itself and right down to the sea. So we've arrived down here at the sea now in Robin Hood's Bay, and the village is beautiful as you follow the road just winding through all the houses. We have thrown our stones in the sea to conclude our 192-mile trek across the whole of northern England. It has been absolutely incredible, with many memories, many stories to tell for the future.